I'm Jude Wilkey. I'm a senior at North Greenville University, so I'll be graduating in May of this year. Well, not this past summer, but the summer before, I was just analyzing. I wasn't an accounting major off the bat, and I was just looking at uh, what other things I could do because I was history at the time, and I was realizing that I didn't want to be a history teacher or anything along those lines. I love history, but just looking at any career about it or just anything in the future like that, I didn't like where it was going. So I was taking a look at what was available to me at my university, and I had helped my girlfriend out and some friends out with accounting homework before, and so I had previously thought about switching. So I was just thinking, hey, I'll go for it and I'll switch now and hopefully it works out for the best. So I switched over the summer and, I've been very grateful to have enjoyed it so far. And so I've had to do a lot of catching up. I've had to take a lot of summer classes and stuff like that, but it's worked out fine to where I'm graduating on time. Yeah, well, after switching to accounting and getting into the field, I, especially, like looking for internships and jobs and stuff like that, I just found Scappa online and I thought it looked like a great organization and that could be a resource and hopefully in the future, something I could give back to, since it has helped me out so much. Um, it gave me a mentor, which has been great. He's actually the president. And he's been a great help to me in finding direction, where to go, what to look for, and that kind of stuff. And um, I've been blessed to get a scholarship from Scappa, so that's been very helpful towards helping me finishing out my degree. And I haven't utilized many resources besides that, besides looking at newsletter and stuff like that. But so far it's been a great help as far as finding direction and just connecting with people and stuff like that. Well, I was pretty ecstatic. It felt good to be recognized and awarded a scholarship like that, especially since I'm especially proud of it because I switched so late, you know. But I've had good grades and maintained that, and I think taken to it well. So I'm just really grateful for being given the award and the support. Well, it follows somewhat naturally from me switching to accounting. It seems the right choice as far as career and all that, but um, in a broader, abstract view of things, it's just it'll give me the experience and the knowledge to, of course, further my own career, but also to help people out more, to be of greater service to my community and clients and stuff like that. Yeah, as mentioned, I like history a lot, so I do, I read a lot, and that's not just history. I enjoy reading like sci-fi and stuff like that. A lot of fiction usually, but of the nonfiction, I'll read history. So particularly military history, it's just inherently interesting to me, especially old stuff. I don't go in for most people like World War history, and that's interesting to me. But I really like old stuff, so like antiquity, so Alexander the Great or the Romans, stuff like that, the Punic Wars. And then I play tennis for my university, so tennis is a very big part of my life. And after I'm done with college, I imagine I'll continue playing tennis for some time until I'm no longer able to. um, and then I've got a 8-year-old brother, so he's actually been helping me rekindle some childhood hobbies. So I don't know, we have fun. Just I don't know. I like simple stuff, so I like throwing a ball with somebody. Um, and then besides that, I mean, I play video games. I read a lot. Um, I enjoy hanging out with friends, all the normal stuff. It varies as far as songs go, but I listen to orchestral music a decent bit just because it's on low volume, just because it's some nice white noise, and some other songs, so like kind of electronic songs that are just repetitive, and it kind of helps me just get in a zone. Um, Not too much stuff with lyrics. The lyrics are kind of distracting for me when I'm studying. I'll start with a couple. I may have to think about the third one. For my first, I think I would say like level, as in, um, I'm not a very, I'm not a super emotional person. I mean, I like, that sounds weird, but I just mean in the sense of like stuff doesn't knock me off course too hard. And I think that's because of how much I've played tennis. Um, it's an emotional sport, and you're by yourself when you're playing singles. But it's just taught me that, um, like getting angry, getting upset doesn't usually help you out too much in whatever situation you're in. So when I'm playing a match, if I get extremely frustrated or angry or upset, it's going to distract me more than anything from the goal, which is winning the match. And um, I've just learned in life that getting too uh, upset about things is usually just detracts from the experience of life. So I've probably from tennis, I've become, I mean, stoic is a strong word, but pretty level emotionally. And that's a skill I've just worked on because when I was younger, I did get very, very angry and upset and frustrated pretty often. As far as a second word, um, I like to view myself as pretty driven, and that kind of goes back to, I switched up halfway through college on what I was doing, and I've made that work for myself, and I've got several goals, for my future. I want to get my CPA, I want to do several things, and I'm pretty confident about achieving those things, just because I know I've done well so far, you know. And as far as a third word, maybe personable. And that's a skill too. When I was younger, I was pretty introverted. That ties back into how I enjoy reading, and so I read a lot of my childhood and stayed inside, whereas other kids might have been playing outside and playing with people. But I just realized that at a certain point in high school that life is more about people than anything else. So I just started developing the social skills as much as I could and just engaging with people. And I found life to be much more enjoyable when you are personable and you are engaging with those around you. I suppose in all the standard ways, just being a conscientious CPA, being very intentional about my work, and being of service to whoever needs a CPA, whether that be through taxes or audit. And in the future, I see myself getting my CPA. I see myself growing in the field and continuing to be of more service to the community and to people who need a CPA. Yeah, I mean, I think most people looking at accounting, it's got, and maybe this is from media, but it's got the stereotype of being, boring office work and, people who are unhappy doing their job, and that it's like math heavy. And of course, there's numbers, but in my mind, it's more learning rules than necessarily math. I mean, so far the math hasn't gotten more complex than algebra, and you're learning rules, you're learning how to use systems, you're learning how to use Excel and different programs like that. And so when you break it down like that, I mean, it's really not that, it's difficult, but if you don't particularly like math or don't think that you're good at math, that wouldn't hinder you too much in the field. And I mean, overall, it's a great career. It's stable. If you don't have a passion that you want to pursue, I don't see why accounting is worse than anything else. In fact, I think it's better than a lot of professions. I mean, my accounting professors are obviously biased, but they like to talk big game about how accounting is the best major at my university, and I would agree. It tends to work out well for people who go into accounting. And even if you do have a passion, if it's like music, or you want to be a drummer or something, but you want to be a little bit safe and have something on the side while you're working on getting a band going or something like that, accounting's not a bad, stable place to work from.